On my very first day in Europe, I met a Mexican girl named Tabitha in the National Museum of Prada, Madrid. She had bright pink hair, skin like a porcelain doll, and pale blue eyes. She was super passionate about the museum and gave me her full private tour, leading me around in somewhat manic fashion, limbs flying, and afterwards we exchanged emails as I didn't bring a phone overseas. And so that night I received an email from her to come to this address tomorrow, 6 a.m. I was like, 6 a.m. Damn, all right, sure. I arrived just after 6, and she came down and led me into this studio flat where there was a menacing looking Spanish guy at the table, staring me down from the moment I walked in the door. And there's another guy passed out on a mattress on the floor. It was the passed out guy's flat, apparently. So I approached the table somewhat cautiously before Tabitha introduced me to Jose, the Spanish guy, who turned out to be a big friendly giant, actually. He had a big round head and rings around his eyes so dark it would seem he hadn't slept in years. He was quite softly spoken and didn't know much English, so we made do with smiles and hand gestures. It was nice to communicate that way. That morning in Madrid, it was snowing, and not the kind that falls from the sky, if you catch my drift. By 8 a.m., we're all high as kites in full flight, and I don't know whose idea it was, but the next thing I knew, we were all manically drawing scribbles and writing poetry all over the walls and ceilings of this guy's flat, who's still passed out, by the way. It was a wacky scene, the three of us vandalizing this guy's flat who slumbers just beneath us. Tabitha would translate my English gibberish into Spanish gibberish while Jose was drawing some sort of deranged interpretation of sacred geometry. And that's how I learned to speak Spanish. No, I'm just kidding. By midday, I was out of there, and yeah, I never saw them again. So I hope they're well wherever they are.